Let's re-rank the remaining 16 teams left in the 2023 D1 softball tournament, our super regional teams. First up, Oklahoma. I don't think I need to explain myself here. The Sooners are absolutely dominant. The Bats are hot, 6 homers in one game. Number 1 in my book and probably most books. At number 2, I moved up Tennessee because of their dominant performance in the regionals. Never a doubt, and a really strong offensive outing. With UCLA out, I am moving the Volunteers up. Florida State remains my number 3 team. The Seminoles did have to play the if necessary game against South Carolina after the Gamecocks shut them out in Game 6. But they had to play a really hot team in South Carolina, a team I don't think the number 3 team should have had to play in the first place. Kat Sandercock threw a perfect game, though, in Game 7 to put the team on her back, literally, and I am keeping them at 3 with a guess that the Bats come back alive in the Supers. At number 4, Stanford. The Cardinal had 2 dominant wins over Florida, and that deserves a pretty big bump in my book. At 5, I have Georgia. 5 does feel pretty high for the Dogs, but I think their dominant offensive performances over Virginia Tech outweighs the teams I have right below them. 6, Oregon. A huge boost for the Ducks, who were unseeded in the tournament. But hey, when you go out and sweep an incredibly strong team in Arkansas, that's impressive. 7, I've got Texas. The Longhorns had 2 wins over Texas A&M, and I think 7 is a good spot for them after their regional performance and a boost from their original seeding. At number 8, I'm going with Duke. The 5-0 and 4-2 win over Charlotte wasn't enough for me to move them up further, but still really strong regional outing. Number 9, Oklahoma State. Their 6th seeding entering the tournament felt a little high for me in the first place, but they did take down Wichita State and Nebraska. The offense was able to get some runs on the board, and I am going with the 9th spot. Okay, number 10, I've got Utah. This team beat Ole Miss twice, and this was the regional discussed as one of the toughest regionals. The Utes were the 15 seed, and I am moving them up 5 spots after the regionals. This team is hot at the right time and looking really dangerous heading into the Supers. Right outside the top 10, I've got Northwestern, who entered as a 12 seed, and now I have them at 11 after beating a good team in Kentucky and pulling off that 1-run win over Miami. At 12, Clemson, the last remaining Player of the Year candidate competing in Valerie Cagle, and this team got through Auburn, who some argued could have been a seed in the tournament. This is a strong team who unfortunately has a date with OU in the Supers. At 13, I'm going with Washington. I dropped them because they struggled against McNeese. But then they went off for one of the greatest moments of the tournament so far with a 7-run inning to come back and win Game 7. They finally gave us a glimpse of what we had been seeing from them most of the season, and they got it done. So a drop, but not too much of a drop. At 14, Alabama. I know it feels like a drastic drop for the 5 seed, and they were playing without Montana Fouts, but they still struggled against Middle Tennessee, and the offense has really been slumping. They escaped with a 1-0 win against Middle Tennessee after losing 5-1 to them in Game 6. The offense needed to show up more for me to justify putting them higher. If Fouts is back and the Bats come alive in the Supers, though, that's a different story. All right, at 15, I have Louisiana. They were unseeded in the tournament and knocked off LSU with a 1-run win. And finally, San Diego State as my 16th team in the Supers at number 16. They didn't have to play UCLA, but still really impressive with a 6-3 win over a strong Liberty team. So that's it. Excited for some crazy super regional matchups.